Okay, we're now joined by a lawyer, Barrister ADEMOLA EKUNDAYO. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Claudia.
It looks like this whole Dasuki case might just be a litmus test for the Buhari administration in its anti-corruption war, as many people have, commented. It looks like the table is turning around against the federal government. Would I be right?
I don't think so. Like you say, it's a litmus test. The federal government has to sit up concerning our legal issues. I believe, as you are talking about the issue of Dasuki now, I realized he was talking about going abroad for medical checkup. Just dawned on me, what is wrong with our leaders? What does it take us to have a wonderful, very good hospital? We claim we have national hospital, well equipped. Do you have to go abroad to have medical checkup? I don't just understand. At the moment, concerning the issue of Dasuki, about suing for millions, he has a right. I believe his fundamental human right is being encroached upon by the issue of failure to grant him bail since his incarceration. They are all bailable offenses, really, to be sincere.
All right.
But they might be talking about security reason.
All right, now let's take it to this other area now. The federal government has taken Dasuki to court.
Yes.
And a court has also given out a ruling, let me say, yeah, very good, a ruling on the fact that he should be released. There's a ruling from a court.
Yes.
And the federal government who took Dasuki to court is also violating a court ruling.
Yes.
So how do you reconcile when you're taking someone to court and then you're violating court rulings?
He's exercising the right now by taking federal government to court to enforce his fundamental human right. I think now it depends on what happened in court. Then secondly, I think they are taking it a little bit too far. Even the agencies, EFCC, people are blaming, talking. I remember the Fayose issue. The constitution is clear about a lot of things. We don't have to say because we are fighting corruption, we should encroach on our rights. That would be unfair on the populace, because the whole essence of justice is that innocent one will not be punished for what they have not done. So the law found that 9 even criminals escape rather than 1 innocent to go to jail. Those are the essence of this issue of balances in the issue of our justice system. So I think federal government has to step down on that. They have to watch out. They are overdoing it. They are even intimidating the judges. When you make pronouncement that this person, president says this person does not deserve bail, a judge that is going to take that application will be careful in granting it.
But doesn't that amount to interference of the executive on judicial proceedings?
To some extent it is. To some extent it is. Because you should leave them. You don't have to make pronouncement. You don't have to presume that somebody is guilty because you're just charged. It is the duty of the court or the judge to decide whether somebody is guilty or not the duty of the executive. I think there's a lot of interference. It is. There's interference even in the legislative body arms. There's serious interference at the moment. I believe we are learning anyway.
Indeed, it's a learning process. Okay, now this story has also called attention to the present government's approach to the fight against corruption. Let's see this report.
On assumption of office made last year, President Buhari left no one in doubt about the determination of his administration to confront all corrupt past and present government officials head-on. But 1 year and 2 months on, many are taken aback by the manner his administration's war against graft is being prosecuted. President Buhari had pledged not to spare anyone indicted, irrespective of his or her political affiliation and status.
The way it is happening, government seems to focus on one, and that is the arms purchase scandal. We know the politicians. I call them thieving political elites. They are not region bound. They are not state bound. They are spread across the 6 geopolitical zones. They should be brought to book. But the way it is going, the manner in which it's being prosecuted, creates the impression that government is on a vengeance mission.
I think he's trying to settle some political differences. That's the only way I see it. If they are doing recovery, let it be total. If you are doing selective recovery, you make no sense of the process. Now, see, one thing we must have in our mind now is presidents are being set. You understand? Presidents are being set. And when you are setting presidents, you must be careful. So it does not boomerang on you after 4 years or 8 years or 16 years, as the case is.
But there are those who did not totally share this position canvassed. To these people, President Buhari is on the right course of stemming the tide of corruption in the country.
I don't believe that the anti-corruption war is one-sided, but people may feel so because the other political party have been at the helm of affairs for so long. They have been in control of the economy. Some money has been missing. Whoever felt that any other political party members have been involved in corruption should present all their documents, all their facts.
Dr. Amuda Kanike, a senior advocate of Nigeria, urged all those already accusing President Buhari of being selective to exercise more patience and see what he will do before the expiration of his administration's first tenure.
If you leave corruption at the expense at which it's going now, then we're going to have a very terrible situation. The economy is bad, and you're hearing somebody is taking 4.1 billion naira to go and give to spiritual ballists. So are we saying that such ways should be ignored? Are we saying that such should not be tackled?
Even with the resolve of the federal government not to soft-pedal in its ongoing anti-corruption war, many Nigerians want the same attention given to the looming unemployment and poverty in the country. Edmond Owaje, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
All right, you listen to some other voices there. That's just a reflection of what Nigerians are thinking and what they are saying generally. Now, it brings us to the issue of the style in fighting corruption one way or the other. Now, one would say, fine, this is a democratic dispensation, and every strategy of government in fighting corruption or should be democratic or should have some semblance of democracy in it. How would you qualify the style in fighting corruption now?
I would say it's not totally democratic because there's some little bit of, like we said, encroachment on the right of other arms. Like, for instance, people are shouting about Ekiti State concerning the issue of freezing of the account. I look at the constitution critically and I realize that there's no way you can freeze that account without court order. And there's no way you will obtain court order without putting the name of the defendant or respondent, which is likely, or the accused person, which is likely to be the governor. And the essence of that constitutional provision is that so that you place the fact before the court, and the court will now look at it and say, yes, by virtue of these facts, we ought to freeze this account. When the fact is not okay or is not consistent with your claim, the court will not give the order. I have been a victim of this EFCC act before. I have a client because somebody went to FCC to report issue of tenancy. He paid for a rent and he said he's no longer interested. And he wants to recover his money. He said, please, let's get another tenant and we'll give you your money. He went to police. I went to court. That you are encroaching on their right. It's pure business matter. Police saw the order, he hands off. He went to FCC, FCC saw the order, they didn't do anything, just wrote letter to the bank to freeze the account. And the account, the entire account of that company was frozen. That is the reason for those particular clauses in FCC Act, so that they don't overshoot their boundary, they don't encroach on people's rights, they don't abuse the office. That's the essence. Because sometimes because we mix politics with the issue of constitution, we don't want to see it that way. I'm not a follower of Irish.
Where the real challenge is not being able to draw the line between politics overzealousness on the part of the anti-corruption agencies and of course following the rule of law. But what do you think are the larger implications for this government's anti-corruption war if Dasuki is able to get the court to, grant his prayers. Maybe not necessarily the 15, billion that he's asking for, but symbolically, what do you think that will do to this government?
I'm not too sure he can get that claim.
I'm not even talking about the claim,
okay.
But for him to be able to establish the fact that the federal government has infringed on his rights, personal liberty.
I am not too sure even the court will be able to declare that.
Why not?
It seems the court are even afraid in making some declarations. With due respect.
Is it that bad?
I don't know. Maybe they were intimidated by the statements of the president. I remember the president was on here concerning Kalu, that person does not deserve a bail. On the application, they refused to grant him bail.
And they say perception is stronger than reality.
Yes.
How will the international community, view Nigeria at this time, and especially President Buhari, who has, initially there was this big question mark on his democratic credentials, and he has said, look, I was a military man then, now I'm a Democrat, I'm a civilian more or less.
I think that's one of his problems, really. It's difficult to, when you are really under military regime, it's so easy. You don't need any legislative arms to check you. You can even issue a decree that will, if that will be military regime, that decree giving somebody rights over a certain issue, will decree it away. But now I believe our president is adjusting. We need to give him a little bit of chance, but we need to talk out. It should not silence the voices that are saying, you are going astray. Please come back to the track. The federal government should be careful not to silence such voices.
All right, now there are concerns here and there about the anti-corruption agencies making arrests before investigation. And to some extent, some people have voiced out, we've heard some analysts saying, in the case of Dasuki, this is part of it too. He has been arrested before some investigations are even being carried out.
I think they do investigate before arrest. Maybe the investigation is not concluded. They do investigate. Only upon investigation, you keep on discovering more. I think that's our issue. And the difference between our judicial system, our prosecution system that we need to change is, in America, they will look at the facts. Can we succeed if we decide to prosecute this person? If we cannot succeed, don't let us waste the public fund. So they investigate properly, thoroughly, before they charge to court. Here, once we have investigation, we go to court. While we're in court, we keep on we continue the investigation. Because if not, why are you keeping Dasuki if you have finished your investigation? I think the investigation is not true yet.
So in this case, who do we hold for that? Is it judicial system or the anti-graft agency?
No, it's the agency. It's not the judicial system. It's the fact to present to the judicial system.
Let's take a look at some of the findings of the committee investigating the corruption charges against Dasuki. 513 contracts to the tune of $8.32 billion were awarded. 53 were failed contracts amounting to $2.27 billion and 13 billion, that's 13.87 billion naira respectively.
Now, the committee also noted that the amount of foreign currency spent on failed contracts was more than double the $1 billion loan that the National Assembly approved for borrowing to fight insurgency in the Northeast. The committee also discovered that payments to the tune of 3 billion naira were made to a single company by the former NSA without documented evidence of contractual agreements or fulfillment of tax obligations to the federal government.
Now, further findings revealed that between March 2012 and March 2015, Colonel Sambo Dasuki awarded fictitious and phantom contracts. The contracts, which were said to be for the purchase of 4 Alpha jets, 12 helicopters, bombs and ammunition, were not executed, and the equipment were never supplied to the Nigerian Air Force. Neither are they in its inventory.
Well, that's if you listen to those. Anyway, they are all still seen as allegations, as far as the court has not come out to to make any pronouncement or pass a judgment on that. But if we look at some of these cases, sometimes the issue of technicalities seem to knock off the real substance of cases. Why do we have those kind of things in the judiciary? Why do we have much of those? Because in high-profile cases, you often have technicalities.
Yes. Thank you very much. First, part of the blame on the doorstep of the institution that do the investigation. If you have your facts correctly, it might be difficult for any technicalities to knock it off. That is one. Then secondly, our judiciary too are getting timid. When we talk about corruption, the mistake we make is that we thought corruption is just about embezzling money. Appointment of people, there is serious corruption. When you appoint judges based on who you know, your connection, your party affiliation, not based on merit, we are going to have a problem. When the judges are no longer active, active means you should look at certain things and take decisions. They don't even know the enormous power they are wielding in that particular position. Judges have power to take certain decisions. Even when we bring technicalities, they still have discretion on a lot of things. Using the discretion rightly is our issue, I think. So partly, the fault is on the investigative authority and even the judiciary. I agree with you.
So how can Nigeria come to the point where, whether you're talking about the war against corruption and all other things, you know, that you have institutions in place rather than, you know, persons? Because when they're out of the scene, what happens next? Where does that leave the war against corruption, for example?
I think for now, the war against corruption, I believe
because you just said that it's one-sided. The judiciary seems to be pandering to the whims of the executive.
The fighting of corruption now is not, it has to be total. It's not just about Dasuki or federal government, executive alone, judiciary, legislative arms, institutions, appointments. Corruptions are everywhere. So we need to fight it totally. In making appointment, federal government, for instance, in recent appointment, I did not see fairness in the appointments. That's part of corruption. If you are fighting corruption and your own appointment is lopsided, you're not totally fighting corruption.
But the president said, you know, these are men that he has tried and tested and he trusts them, and that's why he would want to use them.
I can't remember some of them serving in his regime in 1983. Did he try them in PTF? I believe I'm making sense. He was the head of state in 1983. Less than a year, we still remember the ministers. So I did not see any of these people. Most of them are not in that regime. Some of them are even young then, too young to be a minister or anything. So it's not about try and test, it's who you want.
All right, now let's get further. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka is recommending imprisonment for corrupt politicians. He wants professionals to join the fight against graft.
It is a battle for everybody, and definitely the arts must be in front, as usual. Okay?
Okay, sir. So
not just the arts, the theologians, the moralists, the philosophers, the masons, architects, builders, everybody. It's everybody's war. The law, NBA, everybody's involved, including even you. Oh, yeah.
So we fight corruption.
Which way forward?
Yeah, we fight corruption, sir.
Which way forward? There's no way. There's only one way for corrupt people. It ends in where's that place where we have the prison here? Ibarra. It ends in Ibarra, behind the Oba or wherever, or Kirikiri. Yeah. Let's go and eat some shakpagiri for a change.
Professor Wole Soyinka there, you know, responding in a rather, well, not comical, you know, but this is a very, very serious issue. The question, the fact remains that in this anti-corruption war, within the last 1 year, nobody really has been put behind bars. What's your take on that?
Yes, it may not be that easy. That's a reflection of how slow our judiciary is also, judicial system is also. It's a reflection of how slow we are, very slow, with due respect. I am a litigation lawyer, I go to court almost every day. We are extremely slow. Cases of 12, 13 years, commercial matters, shouldn't be. See, some talk about land, that land you cannot carry it away, so you can waste time. But why should you be wasting time on commercial? That is reflection. One, they still take notes in longhand.
But so, yeah, you're giving us a picture of all of that. But whose table does that lie in being expeditious with these cases?
One on CJ's table, then the executive are part of it because they have influence on the judiciary. Like Lagos State is taking a lot of both steps. I remember since the time of Professor Shimbaju, they've introduced the issue of recording system, but some of them are not even using it. While some are using it.
Going
they
back
introduce
to
legal assistance so that maybe you help them in career research. Some of them are using it effectively, but some of them are not using it.
Going back to Professor Wole Soyinka's view there on the anti-corruption war, he believes that, in other words, every Nigerian really should own this war wherever you are. Yes. You know, you should be part of it actively.
Yes.
Do you think the average Nigerian has come to the place where, you know, this anti-corruption war belongs to him?
Not at all. We are not at all.
Why not?
We are blaming Dasuki. Blame. Go to the ministries, the clerks. Before they get you fired, they will demand for money. Go to any ministry in Alausa. I'm saying it. You can't get things done. Only a few of them. I'm not saying there are exceptions. You can't get things done without settling in court. You can't get your file to move without having somebody to follow up. You can't get a registrar to give you ruling in court without first giving them money to go and type. You can't serve process in court of appeal, maybe outside or some other court, without first mobilizing the sheriffs. That is corruption. It's everywhere. We need to sanitize or sensitize ourselves. Corruption starts from our home. You'll be surprised now that parents try to bribe examiner so that their children can get admission. That is corruption. And you are blaming Dasuki. You are blaming Jonathan. In schools, parents try to buy papers for their ward to pass. I told my child, if you can't pass, you repeat. In nowadays, if you fail your WAEC, they might say go back to Form 4. And by the time you are coming out, you come out shining. There's nothing like that. We want to rush.
All right. We'll certainly come back to understanding why there's this desperation for the factors responsible for this desperation for have to make money here, have to make make ends meet here and there, as the case may be. But however, it is time for the news update for the time, and Kemi Folade is standing by. Kemi, good morning again.
Thanks a lot, Mike. It's written to Nigeria's police chief seeking protection. The letter is in relation to the verbal assault on her by Senator Dino Melaye. Senator Tinubu made reference to a threat on her life by Melaye. She specifically wrote, "I have decided not to ignore his threat to my life. I am compelled to urge you to use your good office to provide me with adequate security," end quote. She said the timely intervention of a number of her colleagues prevented Senator Melaye from physically attacking her. Members of the Lagos State House of Assembly have called on Governor Akinwumi Ambode to give his assent to the Neighborhood Safety Corps bill passed a few weeks ago. The lawmakers, while reacting to Saturday's kidnap of the Oniba of Iba, Oba Goriola Hussaini, said they are worried about the twist of events in the activities of the criminals who have now shifted base to coastal areas. And former Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase has denied taking away 24 police vehicles as alleged by his successor Ibrahim Idris. Arase has been in the UK after his disengagement. He said every information needed by his successor on vehicles bought by the police are in his handover notes. He added that the vehicles bought under his watch for the police were distributed to the state commands and other appropriate units of the force. He also denied getting any letter from Idris since he has been in the UK. Back in Oyo State, a high court sitting in Ibadan has sentenced a former factional leader of the National Union of Road Transport Workers to 6 years in prison for murder and conspiracy. Bukaila Lamidi, also known as Auxiliary, was convicted along with 3 other members of the union. The judge ruled that 2 years should be deducted from the sentence as the suspects had been remanded in prison before the end of the trial. Governors of Kano and Kebbi are strategizing on improving wheat production through support programs for farmers in their various states. Agriculture Minister Audu Ogbe says he is impressed with the move by the governors, adding that the move is in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's desire to improve food security and nutritional safety in the country. And while health authorities are working at giving all Nigerians access to quality health care with the launch of the Rapid Result Initiative, the RRI program was launched by Health Minister Isaac Adewale, who says it was created to ensure quick response to critical health needs and to enable focused and affordable treatment. Key deliverables include the revamping of 110 primary healthcare centers, improving on healthcare insurance, surgical interventions, and the treatment of 200,000 severely malnourished children. That's News Updates. TVC Breakfast Discussions continues with Mike and Ngozi.
All right, thank you very much, Kemi. All right, we're back to the TVC Breakfast Studio, and we have ADEMOLA EKUNDAYO. He's a lawyer. We're looking at the whole drama surrounding, of course, the Dasuki case and what this might mean for the federal government going forward. Let's even go back to the military itself, which Dasuki represents. And of course, you have a Buratai case on the one hand, which many people have been saying, look, the federal government needs to beam the searchlight on that. How do you explain a military officer being able to save up to $1.5 million to buy property and, of course, abroad? Now, all of this, how do you think it's affecting the morale of junior military officers? And, of course, officers in, the other different, whether it's police you're talking about.
The rank and file.
The rank and file.
Obviously, it will affect their morale. My take was, can't you invest in Nigeria? Why $1.1 million investment in Dubai? They have more than enough investment. I think that's what we need to think about. Our orientation is now upside down. You steal money, or you make money, you go to Dubai to invest it, where you can empower your people in Nigeria and invest. Those retired generals do own farms. I don't know what they are now. I don't know what business they are now. Into banking and buying property abroad.
At least we know all the farms in Otan, in Sokoto State and so on.
Taraba, Adamawa State. I think there's no way to not affect the morale of the junior ones. It's unfortunate that there's serious unemployment. So people are joining the forces now, whether they like it or not because you have interest. I have the privilege of once serving in the Navy. I left the secondary and joined the Navy. Not just because of unemployment, because I want to see the world. I say join the Navy and see the world there. But now, you join not because you're interested. So the corruption is even part of the reason why you are joining. I want to make money, not because you want to serve your motherland. There's no way your morale can be boosted by your top officers taking money or buying property that their their income throughout their service can even provide for. We have issues.
All right. Now we had a guest earlier about a week ago who gave us some few statistics of some corruption cases that have been concluded. And if you check the amount of monies and all of those, there are monies within the range of 100,000, 200,000, 1 million, and all of that. That's certainly different from the high-profile cases when the cash are running into billions. Now, in prosecuting these issues, what's the difference between the corruption cases at that level and then the high-profile cases that run into more than naira? You're talking about billions and pounds.
Yes, I think
I'm talking about the approach to
it. The approach to it, I think, one, those that stole big money have the means to employ the best of lawyers. That's the truth. Even the investigators, at the sight of such a huge amount, if they are not careful, they derail in their approach to a proper investigation. Some will be thinking, the corruption I'm talking about, some will be thinking, what can I make out of this money? That's the truth. I said an average policeman that is on the road, if he's on the road because he wants to arrest criminal, he's likely to catch criminal. But if he's on the road to make money, criminals will pass, you will not see them. So when the money is huge, the investigation will be shaky. There will be means to fight. There will be means to drag. That's it.
Okay.
All right. ADEMOLA, EKUNDAYO, thank you very much for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.